the 2020 Mad River Glen Cooperative Annual Meeting. I'm John Tobin, President of the Board of Trustees, and this is new for all of us. And if there are any technical problems, please bear with us, as we meet virtually for the first time. I know these are challenging times, and I send my best wishes out to the entire Mad River Glen community, and I hope you're all safe and healthy. I'm joining you by conference from Massachusetts, and it's sad indeed for me not to be at our special mountain, but as much as we all love Mad River, we're reminded at times like this that there are other things more important than skiing. So anyway, with that, I'd like to get things rolling, and our GM, Matt Willard, will take care of most of the hosting duties, but first I'll just give you a quick overview of the agenda. First will be a very brief board report that I'll give you. Then we'll have the treasurer's report given by Matthew Milan. Then Matt Willard will give the management report, followed by Britton Rogers, chair of the Facilities Committee, will give an update on the renovations and construction of our building projects. Then Jim Elkine from the Stark Mountain Foundation will give an update on the SMF, and then we'll follow that with a shareholder discussion where you can put in your comments on Facebook or via email. Anyway, so next slide. Okay, so a few of the things that the Board of Trustees has been up to over the past year. First off, our members are myself, John Tobin, President, and Ron Shems is Vice President. Matthew Milan is the Treasurer. Barclay Rappaport is the Secretary. Lee Michel, Brad Noble, Carol Pierce, Meg Schultz, and Andy Weiss are the other trustees. Among the things we've done this year, probably our most important role has been to support management of the planning and approval process for the building project. A lot of work has been going on in the background, behind the scenes, and we had a couple of formal approvals to support that effort. We have been collecting and putting together an archive of all the Board of Trustees, and that was quite a bit of work. Thanks to the efforts of Brad, Carol, and Lee, who, among other things, audited all of the minutes, we've assembled that, and it's still in progress, but we expect to have that done by the end of this term. We revised the minutes approval process to try to encourage the minutes to get uploaded quicker. Obviously, as you all know, last fall we convened a special shareholder meeting to approve the building projects, and they were approved overwhelmingly. We're in the process of updating new trustee onboarding information and procedures. Ron Shems, held a training session on board best practices for the entire group. We approved the new mission statement and goals for the Finance Committee. And we audited the online version of the bylaws since we discovered there were a couple of errors in terms of the version that was up there. So that's just some of what we've been up to over the course of the year, and we'll be voting on the new trustees that will be taking their term starting in July. Okay, so the next slide. As you know, obviously, normally we would be collecting ballots in person, and we can't do that since this is a virtual meeting. If you didn't get your ballot sent in on time, you can scan or take a snapshot of it and email it to elections@madriverglen.com. Please make sure that those are emailed to us no later than 15 minutes after the conclusion of this meeting in order for us to stay in accordance with our bylaws. And please make sure before you send it that the ballots are legible. So everything's been good, and we've got it ready to you online already. Make sure. All right. Next slide. And we have our election now. We have 3 slots that are open. 2 in-state candidates. Both slots with only 2 candidates for 2 slots. Unfortunately, so those slots are not contested other than write-in candidates. And those are Meg Schultz and Barclay Rappaport. We have 1 out-of-state position, which is the position I'll be vacating this summer. And we have 2 candidates for that, Andrew Carey and Bill Coyle. Their candidate statements are on the Mad River Glen website. If you click on the left navigation bar on the co-op, and then there's an annual co-op shareholders meeting link, and all of their and Q&As are on that. And with that, our next slide. So now I'm going to pass it off to Matthew Milan, our treasurer, who works with Matt in terms of the as who's head of the with the finance committee. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, John, and thanks, Matt. Matt, give me a quick thumbs up if you can hear me on your end.
We can hear you, we can't see you.
Excellent. I'm just going to start my video now. How's that, everybody? Good. So I'm Matthew Milan. I'm the treasurer. I oversee the finance committee on behalf of the board of trustees and the shareholders. Work very closely with Matt Lillard and his team. And we're going to give you a quick but quite well covered view of the finances of the co-op right now. So thanks for advancing that, Matt. Really quickly today, we're going to go through 2019-2020 recap. I'll quickly walk you folks through the updated statement that John Tobin referenced. We'll touch on the year-to-date financial results, and of course, if folks want to go deeper, in addition to sending questions to me at any point through the year, we're also posting monthly reports on the finance committee's activities, which will include those types of numbers. We're going to talk about what it looks like from our cash position and our NOI projections. We'll give you a bit of a view into sources of revenue because we made a few tweaks and changes this year, and they've turned out very positive. Then we'll spend a minute or so just looking forward so you have a sense of what the finance committee is focused on behalf of the co-op over the next year. So first off, this was one of the strongest years financially in the history of the co-op. We had decent weather. We had exceptional operations. We made some really good and tactical tweaks to the timing and pricing of our offerings, and the consistency of the product that we've had on the Hill, in addition to those considerations, put us in a really strong financial position. So even though COVID-19 prematurely ended the season mid-month, we still had two of the top 5 revenue-producing months in the history of the co-op this year, and that was October 19th and February 2020, and those numbers are after we adjust for inflation. So last year has been one of the most successful financially and economically for the co-op, and the numbers really prove that out. Finance committee this year has been active, and thank you to everyone who's been involved. We've been providing oversight and guidance for management through our monthly review calls. We spent a fair amount of effort late last fall updating the mission statement to really make sure that we were focused on supporting the co-op and the board of trustees. We've been doing work behind the scenes to review trends in the industry and have started new modeling work to understand what those trends mean to the co-op as we make tweaks and changes to our offerings. Next slide, please. Great. So we have a new updated mission statement. It was an evolution of our existing mission statement. We felt as a committee that it really made sense to have a good conversation, get some feedback and input, and make sure that we were tracking to things that really supported the long-term outcomes that the co-op was looking for in the co-op's mission statement. So our mission is really to support co-op's management and the board in their role of ensuring the financial integrity and long-term economic viability of the co-op. There is a short-term oversight role that the finance committee has, and there is a long-time, more visionary role that we need to support as well. And so we have 3 major roles. First one is the regular review of financial statements. As folks know, we meet regularly. That's monthly, usually 3rd Wednesday of every month, right before the weekend board meeting. We walk through with Matt and his team financial statements, the capital and operating budget, performance forecasts, and then annually we also support the review and feedback for Matt's team with capital and operating budgets, go through and review the audited financials with the auditor and Matt's team, and generally make sure that there is a fresh set of eyes on any type of significant financial decision that the co-op makes, and we've had a great relationship with Matt and his team over the last year doing that. It's been very smooth. Next slide, please. two other roles that the Finance Committee plays in its support of management of the board, and one of those is to develop and monitor the long-term financial strategy of the co-op. This is looking behind the scenes at where is the industry going, how is the industry making money, what things can Mad River do to either work with those trends or work in its own direction to do those types of things, and what is reasonable and realistic for us as we pursue our mission. And so there is a strategic focus, and we make recommendations to the board. The Finance Committee is a recommendation engine for board and management in many ways. And then in addition to that, we also undertake specific projects at the direction of the board and or myself. These can be strategic or tactical, and the goal again is to provide recommendations to the board for action as appropriate. So we're very happy with the mission statement. We got feedback from quite a few folks. We got it in front of the board both formally and informally, and it was voted in as our new mission statement late last fall. It's been very helpful for us in terms of being focused and really providing value in the time that we spend supporting the co-op. Next slide, please. Very quickly, these are the most recent year-to-end results. As you can see, we had a great year. We came in above budget, and those numbers are still being finalized, but quite good. If you look back at our numbers over the last 5 or 6 years, you can see that our NOI over the years has gone up and down a little bit, but the last 2 years exceptionally strong, and we really love coming in over budget on something like this because we are a very lean business, and we run that way to really to make things go with what we have. So getting a result like this type of revenue, really managing expenses, and coming in with a good income like this is something that is very positive and gives us a lot of flexibility as an institution in general, and is especially helpful for unexpected times like these. So very good year for us, despite the surprise ending, and puts us in a good financial position. And I'll talk a little bit more about that on the next slide. So really quickly, we've got about $650,000 cash on hand, which is almost $100,000 over last year, and about $340 over the previous year. Our line of credit is at zero, and we had strong past sales. We had a good season, great cash management, and having the line of credit at zero right now, and having that much cash on hand means that we have a lot of flexibility for the future. And it means that if we do at some point in the future have to dip into the line of credit, we have ample time to get it back to zero. So kudos to the people on the ground at Mid River and management. We are in an excellent position right now, which is really uplifting for the time that we're in. And as you can see, we've been making progress on that year over year. So this year is not, and I really want to reinforce this year is not just a unique year. As you can see in the trends, there has been a positive trend in terms of our cash balance every year, in terms of our line of credit status, and in terms of our end-of-year NOI projections. So under for 17 and 18, over for 19, and also looking to be over for 2020 when we come to the end of the year in the fall. Next slide, please. So sources of revenue for this year, total revenue just under $3.2 million. Day tickets and seasons passes make up the bulk, with base box also coming in strong. Retail and ski school did well this year. Rental repair, not a significant number, but really want to highlight that that was an area of good, solid growth this year. And one of the things we're tracking at the Finance Committee is the trend between where the bulk of our revenue is coming from, with seasons passes year over year slowly inching up. So something we're keeping an eye on. But right now, what I like about this is that we have a good balanced distribution of different sources of revenue, and it means that our stool, so to speak, has a number of strong legs and then many other legs that are good. So we're not putting all of our eggs in one basket in terms of revenue. It gives us some flexibility to deal with surprises in terms of weather and other things like that. So really nice distribution, strong year, and looking forward to seeing where things grow in the next year. Next slide, please. Yep. So really quickly, what's the Finance Committee focused on for the next year? One of the things we're doing is we're working with management to explore and source credit options to support the co-op's commitments to current and future capital projects. We'll talk more about the construction projects, but we're getting out in front of that with the support of some Finance Committee members, working very closely with Matt's team, and very excited about that work. We're supporting management, the board, with scenario development to ensure our resiliency over the next year as the industry responds to the impact of COVID-19. I mentioned earlier before that we're a very lean business. That gives us a lot of options in terms of how we respond and what we can do. And so we have the ability to be flexible from a financial perspective relative to some of the other folks out there. We're very fortunate to be that way, but we are thinking ahead about that. We expect to support the board and management with analysis and modeling work to inform the co-op strategic plan as it gets looked at again in the near future. And then we're actively looking to rotate in new Finance Committee members every year. This is something that I've been very focused on over the last 15 months since I've become treasurer. And so whether you're a new shareholder or a longtime member of the co-op, really encourage you to get involved with the Finance Committee. It's a great way to support the mountain we love. And if you reach out to my contact information on the Mad River Glen website, I'm happy to chat with you. But if you are a shareholder, definitely encourage you to reach out because it's a great way to get a sense of how the co-op works and provide some support in a very tactical way. So thank you.
Not quite. Sorry.
So finally, I want to thank the existing Finance Committee. These are folks from 2020. Other folks support a little bit as well, and if I missed you, my deepest apologies. But that's Matt Lillard, Deb Steins, Brian Williams, Jordy Hall, Xander Passon, John Skelly, Andrew Weiss, Carol Pierce, Andrew Snow, Lee Michael, Meg Schultz, John Stetson, John Tobin, Sharon Crawford, Annika Holtan, Brad Noble, and Meg Horahan. And it's been a pleasure working with and supporting management of the board, the trustees this past year. So thank you to members of the Finance Committee, and thank you to the board and the management for supporting us as the Finance Committee. It's been a great year. Thanks, folks.
All right, thank you very much, Matthew and John, and welcome everybody. I am live from the third floor of the base box at Mad River Glen with about 3 other people, well away from each other. So as John mentioned in the beginning, this is obviously unprecedented times, and I'd certainly like to be hanging out in the base box with everybody for another annual meeting after getting off the great day on the Hill. But alas, that didn't happen this year, and we are where we are. So while we're working to go through this, I'm excited just to share some highlights from the past season, give a recap, and talk a bit about where we're going this summer and beyond. So with that, I'll go ahead and get us started. So this season was shaping up to be, was an incredible season. It was short, obviously cut abruptly short by the COVID-19 outbreak and the pandemic, but right off from the get-go, I want to say thank you to all of our pass holders, both long time and all of the new ones. Our season's pass sales were up 26% this year, which was $184,000 over last year, and that's a number that we don't usually move the dial on anywhere near to that extent. So it was really great to see. We had our first spring pass sale last spring in the history of the co-op, and that went really well. I think that's a big part of getting more pass holders in, as well as just some new lineup. The Twixter Pass for the 19 to 29 age group was tremendously popular. And we also saw growth in all of our other passes, midweek, value, pretty much across the board, which was great to see. That number was also up 70% over budget. So we knew after the spring it'd be strong, but to have it come in even stronger in the face of the mega passes and everything else going on in the industry, to have that happen for Mad River was just tremendous. So we took that great start into the season, and we had it was an interesting one. We almost hit 200 inches of snow for the year, but we also had 3 big meltdowns, and we spent a lot of the year on some pretty thin but skiable. Probably only skiable at Mad River with our Mad River skiers, so thank you for that. And but we managed to get our way through it. We had a great stretch of skiing from Martin Luther King through President's Weekend and the holiday, and that was really what carried us this last, the second or 2/3 of the season. It was really amazing. We had some great conditions. It was great to see everybody. I think one of the great things that we saw this year was just the pure number of new people who are coming to check out the mountain and check out what Mad River Glen is all about. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I think our neighbors next door, they've had some transition and will continue to. But the more people in the valley who are skiers, the more people I think are going to want to come check out Mad River Glen and feel what we're all about. And then from there, we're looking forward to converting them into Mad River skiers. As Matthew Milan noted, we were on track to have one of, if not the best financial results for a season in the co-op's history. And we'll obviously took a hit in March, ending abruptly, but it was really great to see. And it was both ticket, from the season's passes straight through to tickets. All of our revenue departments did really well. The rental shop and their repair shop business was amazing. The retail shop saw tremendously strong sales. The base box crew and the pub crew just continue to grow that revenue every year. And at the same time, they've been able to manage their expenses and the costs. And those margins are just creeping up a little bit by bit, which helps the bottom line of the co-op. Just to give a taste of where we've been at as far as average snowfall and days of operation. This is where we've been at the past couple of years. So as I mentioned, we ended up with 191 inches of snowfall for the year, which puts us, kind of in that spot where and that's for the summit. On the lower side, but still we had some great skiing days. I look at it, and one of the things I've noticed is 2012, 2013 was a day that we had 149 inches of snow at the base, whereas this year we had 146. And that year we operated 91 days. This year was 88. But obviously that would have been much longer had we had a full season. So I look at that and go, what have we done to be able to operate that many more days on that same amount of base snowfall? I think one of those things is definitely the snowmaking and our ability to put that down and manage it and push it around and really be committed to being open and having a skiable surface. So obviously we're hoping next year is another big year, maybe with less traffic out there in the environment. We'll have some clearer nights and some colder days ahead. We'll see how that pans out. Another thing that we do every year that we've been talking about for a couple of years is our weather rating. So we rate every day of the season, and it's a thing that we use to track how we're doing financially in other parts of operations. But for this year, we ended up with an average of 2.13. Just to give you a sense, our 25-year average is 2.38. So we were below our average, but I think we all had some great skiing days, so that was really good to see. As far as skier visits go, we ended up, this is always an interesting number for Mad River Glen, because obviously we don't have RFID cards, we're not scanning at the lifts. Our season's pass number is an estimate number, but we're coming in at just shy of 80,000 for the year. 79,684 is our number that we're going with, and that's up 13.5% from last year, which was another great year. And a lot of that is there's a multiplier effect that happens with pass holders, and that big increase in season's passes is going to make that number jump. But either way, I think all of our staff can attest. I think those who spent most of February with us can attest. We were busy, kind of day in and day out for a big stretch of that February time frame, and it just felt like every day was another good day. And we kept beating budget week after week, and it was really phenomenal to see. And it would have been interesting to see how the rest of the season had panned out. But from that MLK through really the first week of March was just a gangbusters for Mad River. And lots of people coming to visit. As far as day tickets, a big thing that we look at Mad River up in the main office is our ticket yield. So, everybody out there looking at our, what the tickets cost, whether they buy it online, buy it at the ticket window, we average $56.50 per ticket. So that includes all of our discounts. It does not include rollback the clock day, obviously at $3.50. That was a huge day this year for anybody that was around. We pull that out just not to mess with the averages. Of that, we get just shy of 30% of those come in online. Just over 33% are in MAD cards, which are pre-purchased tickets. And about 27% pay full price, which is, obviously interesting as well. It was a really solid year. The yield last year was $55.70, so we're trying to increase that every year. And that's one of the benefits of our dynamic pricing and buying online. So as people get closer to their visit date, or if the conditions get better, we're able to inch that price up and hopefully getting people to pay just a little bit more for the experience at Mad River. And the online sales, they let us manage the price, as I mentioned. And last year's full price was 29%. So there are some more people getting discounted tickets and otherwise. But with the yield ticking up, that's a good thing for us, and people are seeing value there. MAD cards usage is another big thing we look at, and obviously something we're looking at this year. This year we were at, we'll be 62%, which is not, which is a lot less than last year, obviously. We ended the year early with the abrupt closing. To give you a sense, the average since 2000 is 74%. So while we're down from that, it's not significantly down. It's nowhere near the 27% usage that we saw after the 15-16 season. So we think a lot of people were able to use their MAD card tickets, and unfortunately, hopefully we'll get that usage up again next year. From there, just want to talk about some highlights of the season. Oh, I skipped over one. One of those being snowmaking. So I think it's been a long time since our snowmaking season, but we were able to expand or get back coverage that used to be there all the way up to Case Grove, as well as up on the Bunny Trail. And that really, really helped. There were some times this year where we would not have been open had it not been for that snowmaking higher up and the ability to take some of that snow, push it up farther towards Bunny. We really want to find a way to be able to push snow up underneath the single line on Bunny, because that was by far the weakest. From a numbers standpoint, we had 566 hours of snowmaking this year. Started on November 8th and ended on January 31st. And last year we had 558, so we are just around that time frame as last year was. But we were able to cover more distances. So with our increase, we increased our acreage from 9.41 acres to 16.24 by expanding back to where the snowmaking system used to be up in Case Grove and getting some up on off that corner of Bunny. So I'm really excited about that snowmaking system. I think it's really paying lots of dividends and its ability to keep us open and keep us operating. Another big highlight this year, both our free ski team and our race programs had some great results this year. So one of the really cool things, we sent 3 free skiers to Junior Worlds in Switzerland. And they skied really, really well, had an experience of a lifetime, and that program continues to grow. We also had a lot of great rankings for the end of the year. Our 12 to 14 age group for the females ended up nationally 4th and 7th place for the season. In the 12 to 14 males, we had 1st place. This is across the country, which is phenomenal to see. And 15 to 18 females had 9th and 14th, and 15 to 18 male was number 1 as well. So we've got some amazing skiers. I think another huge contingent, that under 12 is not ranked nationally, but we've got some great skiers there, especially on the girls' side. There's a huge group of really talented skiers with a lot of passion for Mad River and for free skiing. So we're looking forward to that and them getting older. The race department had a great year. Their numbers are down a little bit, but we're hoping to bring those back. In the U14 category, we had two great skiers who had some really strong results. And they made it to states this year and did really well. As a department, one of the really cool things with the snowmaking that we've got is our ability to run more races, both for the high school level as well as for ski clubs, both intra-ski club and between the ski clubs themselves. And those events are just really great ways to get people experiencing Mad River Glen and a different aspect of it, and as well as gain us some revenue and get us visits on those days. So we're looking forward to growing that race program into the future. One of the things we're obviously been focusing on for a while now is just mountain management. And between ski patrol and the mountain ops crew, their ability to put things back together, like you're seeing this picture of Bunny underneath the lift line, like you mentioned on the left there. And I don't think we were skiing that day. We could have been. But if it wasn't that day, it'd probably be the next day. We would have found a way to piece that together and rope it around it and make it happen. So just really want to give a shout out to those two departments for keeping us going and keeping us skiing on as best as conditions as possible. Ooh, the bird cage. With the bird cage deck, and now we've got some beer sales on weekends up there. I think the scene is really starting to come together and really growing to it. It's always been really a home for our ski school programs during the day, but kind of once that lunch hour and afternoon rolls on, it's really being transformed into a really cool spot to be up on the mountain. We obviously missed our big spring season on the deck, but we got a couple days, and that crew up there in the bird cage is something else. And between creative signage and a really cool atmosphere, it's been fun to watch, and looking forward to that grow. Another big thing this year, as we talked about last year, well, not quite at the annual meeting, but shortly thereafter, we had lost our longtime ski patrol director, John Ayers, and our marketing director, Eric Friedman, and we were able to come up with a plan to transition to a new way of doing things and a new layout at Mad River. So you're just seeing some of those new faces. John Cohen in the middle there is our new ski patrol director. He's assisted by Christian Jaquith. And then in the marketing world, we really kind of changed it up and got away from one person managing it all into a team. So Virginia Ferris in the office stepped up tremendously well. It was great to have her move into some roles there. Rye Young stepped up, and really, I think if anybody follows our Facebook, which you're hopefully doing now, or Instagram, our social media presence has been really outstanding over the past year. And Jose is the other free ski coach there, also transitioned to snow reporting. And I think people really enjoyed his reports this year, as well as working in the admin world for free ski, helping that all run. So I just wanted to thank them and just give a call out to those group of people. They really helped the transition and stepped up to the plate when they needed it. Another big highlight that we've been focusing on is Midweek. Midweek in Mad River Glen can be pretty sparse at times, and we've been trying to find ways to bolster that business. And it's been going really well. So here you're seeing two of the things we've been focusing on. One, as I mentioned, was the racing. So this was a dual slalom with a pro jump high school race that was held in either mid to late February or early March. And it's been great to have those races going on. The other big thing we've got this year is both this year we had the Facein Elementary School and the Waitsfield Elementary School actually commit to days to come to Mad River. In the past, it's been, oh, the weather's nice, let's try to bring them over. But this year we were able to get 4 days from the Waitsfield School, and would have been 3 days from Facein had they come. And those kids really enjoy it. It's always fun to watch the buses unload on Wednesdays and Thursdays and come on through the bridge. And those kids, they've got a great opportunity to ski every Wednesday after school, and to have them come up to Mad River is great. We're looking to expand that hopefully to other local elementary schools here in the future. The other thing we've been working on through the ski school is our midweek women's clinics. Were sold out this year. We actually ended up adding extra spots, which was fantastic. We started, we can't forget about the men, so we started a midweek men's clinic. And that quickly sold well, and they had a lot of fun getting up on the hill. And then also we had our Skiing for Scholars, was our second year of that program, which is granted through the Preserve Our Paradise campaign. It's Friday afternoon skiing. Unfortunately, we didn't get to the real heart of that season with the abrupt closure, but that is a great way to get people up on Friday afternoons. And when we reopened the fish fry and the pub, those two really go hand in hand, and it's great to have people come up, both coming up for the weekend as well as the local population come up and enjoy that Skiing for Scholars program and stick around for some fish fry. Obviously, the other, I wouldn't call it a highlight, but the big thing to talk about was our abrupt closing. On March 15th, I think it's safe to say, well, probably most people can say this at this point if they're involved in something, that this is not something I ever envisioned in my lifetime, having to close in a matter of probably 36 hours is kind of how quickly it happened. Fortunately, we were able to provide some semblance of skiing for one more day to be able to close out the season on the 15th while providing as much social distancing as possible, then close down after that for the year. So it's, we operated for 88 days this year, which, there have been worse seasons, definitely, over the past 10, 15 years of the co-op. And we were able to open early. If you think all the way back to December, we got a week early and had some great days. So, I'll really look back on this season as one that was cut short, but a great season nonetheless. And, one of the things we talked about, I heard a lot of questions about, is we've been questioning, people asked about the MAD cards or MAD money and APRs. And with our past policy, if you all remember back to the really horrible 15-16 season and other seasons, we don't roll those over to next year. For the health of the co-op, those products do need to stay within the year. So yes, there are some unused MAD cards out there, and it probably will have some negative effects. But really, we look at different options that exist out there. We really need to stick with that policy that those are valid for the year. For those with MAD money or leftover APR money, you can definitely still use it in the general store. The other thing I just want to make sure people realize is that unspent MAD money does stay with the co-op. And we are able to use those funds. We have done some things over the past couple weeks for our staff after laying them off, involving some bonus checks and helping them get through. And that MAD money and those sorts of things are what enable us to do that. So it's not going anywhere other than to the co-op and supporting the co-op, which is what we all want to be doing. So I know it's hard at times, and we are hoping to have some events in mid to late September in order to get up and use those, whether it's a barbecue or chicken barbecue or otherwise, and open up the store to use some of that unspent MAD money and APR. But we are sticking with that policy and hope you can understand where we're coming from. Obviously not always popular, but we're really looking out for the long-term health of the co-op. And finally, like I said before, it was an abrupt closing, but it was a really great year, and it is remiss to think about what the season could have been, both financially and from a length standpoint, having to get in. We would have definitely gotten into April and see where it would have gone from there. As far as this summer goes, as of right now, and Britton will talk about this in the Facilities Committee report about the renovations, but as of right now, we're looking at a very transformative summer at Mad River Glen. So, pending what goes on, we're still looking at our big projects, and when everybody returns to Mad River, you're going to see a renovated base box, a whole new patrol building. From the operations side of things, our mountain ops staff is going to start chipping away at the bridge building, the admin building. So one of the main pictures you're seeing here is above the walkway. That part of the building is where we're going to start, and really looking at the siding and making sure that needs to get replaced bit by bit. And rather than doing one big project, we're going to tackle it a little bit every year. And this is one of the worst spots. So we're going to start there, and then from there probably move over to the back of the rental office, and then over there to the back of the other side of the admin office. So summer operations-wise, due to the base area projects, the pub and the general store will be closed for in-person business. The general store will be open online and accepting orders, so you can order online with a regular credit card if you have MAD money. There's a phone number on the website to call, and just keep in mind, with everything going on, they are only coming into the store to ship once a week. That is going to be Fridays, so if you place an order on a Saturday or Sunday, it will be 4 or 5 days till it gets out, but obviously we're trying to do what we can there. The mountain will be open for hiking, pending obviously what goes on. I should say that with everything I say, but hopefully it starts to clear and we can allow people to get up and start hiking here this summer. I just ask that people please follow signs when they're up here, both for parking and for hiking. Parking especially, stay on the other side of 17 is the message I can give you, because there's going to be lots of activity once these projects start, to keep that in mind. And then looking all the way forward to fall foliage in green and gold. We don't know what that's going to look like yet. A lot will depend on where the projects are at. We're going to do something, whether we're standing here on Zoom again for green and gold. My ultimate goal is hopefully something out on the lawn under nice weather, but that's to be determined. So we will update people as that gets closer and we get a better idea of where the projects are at. As far as winter operations, opening day is going to be December 12th, 2020. So we're already looking forward to that. We're going to really stick with our same strategies that have been working the past couple of years. We're going to focus on active mountain management, early and often snowmaking, trying to be open as often as we can. From the operations side, continuing to offer that great service that only Mad River can, while at the same time looking for some small efficiencies here and there just to improve our business and our margins. The other big thing, obviously, is our second year of spring pass sales. Currently, the deadline is April 15th. We will, looking at possibly extending that, but I encourage everybody to, to commit to Mad River now and buy those passes. These will be the best rates of the season. We're not sure yet where they're going to increase to, but they will go up after this first spring sale deadline. And really, committing to the co-op now is one of those things that you can do to help support the co-op and help us get through the summer. If we can plan on that pass revenue coming in now and getting it, we can manage our way through our summer better and into our fall. And we really thank you for your support there and getting out and getting those passes for next year. In closing, and for the manager report, I want to give huge thanks to my employees. They performed tremendously well this year. It was a long season. As I mentioned, that February timeframe just seemed like it was nonstop every day. Was another good crowd and everything being open and everybody having visitors in, but they always kept a smile on their face. They always gave that great service and made people feel welcome at Mad River. Thank you to all the shareholders. Without you and your support throughout the years and the good seasons and the bad, and these crazy circumstances, it's the shareholders that support this place the most, and we couldn't do it without you. The Preserve Our Paradise campaign continues to give us grants, and we've got so many benefits over the years from that, from snowmaking to painted green chair to mountain work. All the work that's going to be done on the renovations this summer because of that campaign and all of you as donors to it. Thanks to the Finance Committee and the Facilities Committee. These are two great committees that help support the board and support me and my team in what we're doing on the mountain. And then thanks to the Board of Trustees for having faith in putting me to be the general manager of this mountain and doing everything that they do as well. And so from there, I'm going to turn it over to Britton Rogers, and he and I he'll start and walk us through the Facilities Committee report. Britton, welcome.
Thanks, Matt. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Great. So my name is Britton Rogers. I'm chair of the Facilities Committee. We assist Matt Lillard in the administration of any facilities improvements that are being planned. We support and advise Matt and the Board of Trustees in their decision-making processes. I'm here today to present to you the project plan for this summer in the base box and the patrol and ski school building. Now the schedule is a little up in the air right now. We all know that, and I'll address what we know thus far regarding that. And I just want to describe to everyone briefly, but as thoroughly as possible, what the general scope is and what the board has authorized to happen. The Facilities Committee has worked alongside Matt with the design and construction management teams to find as many economical and effective solutions as we can afford to do. I just want everyone to understand that. So the team, Vermont Integrated Architects, is our design team with many consultants, especially some engineers and people like food service consultants. Vermont Integrated Architects out of Middlebury with Megan Nidzinski and Asher Nelson as the leads. And the construction management team, Naylor and Breen out of Brandon, Vermont. They've helped us throughout the year with estimates and value engineering processes, and they have a great group of subcontractors assembled. So everybody's gearing up so that we're ready to hit everything with all systems go as soon as we are able. As you see on this slide, the construction timeline, we're planning to begin April 16th or as soon as possible, as soon as the governor has lifted the work restriction, and the work is planned to end by Thanksgiving 2020. As you see on the slide there, and you've probably heard the Board of Trustees authorize that we go with the total project budget of $3.2 million. Next slide. So right here you see a rendering of the patrol building and the ski school building. You'll notice that it's not that different than what's there today, but it is a completely new building. This was a rendering done by Vermont Integrated Architects that just to show the scale of the new and improved building in relation to the shed, or the building that's the base of the single chair. Next slide. So for the patrol ski school building, it's basically a new building in the same footprint. So it'll be an insulated, airtight, dry building with a full foundation. The basement foundation will provide proper drainage, footings, and a bit more storage than is there currently, and then quite a bit of mechanical space for the new building. The roof will be higher on the ski school side so that there is a full floor over the garage space. Both the ski school and the patrol sides will have locker areas, and each will have a bathroom, and each will have more space to work with than they currently do, much more. The aid room will have 3 open patient beds as it does now, but it will also have a full private room for treatment, as in addition to the full bathroom that it will have there. Just so everyone knows, the door locations into the building will be pretty similar to what they are now, similarly located. On the patrol side, the side facing the Schuss Pass Road, the door will be basically in the identical that it is now. Where the sled drops the patient through the door, that door will remain where it is now. The door that comes in from the area side is combined with the ski school entrance with an airlock for increased energy efficiency. Next slide. So the base box, here you see the side that faces the bridge building, so it faces as you're coming from Route 17 in the parking lot. In general, the improvements are many mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and structural upgrades that you will not see. They will improve the function and the safety of the building, as well as making it code compliant. Some of the upgrades and improvements have already been made, as you've probably noticed, with the stair railing modifications, the guardrails on the outdoor terraces, and the new exit stair facing the practice slope. In general, everywhere we are opening up walls and ceilings, there will be better insulation, more efficient systems, including LED lighting, and an improved heating system that will be only propane, all propane instead of, right now there's some propane and some oil used in the buildings. So just to point out, from this view that you're looking at right now, the ski school entrance is remaining where it is. It will just be twice as wide. So you'll have a double door entrance and a hallway through there so that 2 people can pass. This is a significant change with very little change to the inside, but it's still very significant. And then the other big change that you'll have here is the addition on the right side of the image. This is an elevator, stair tower, and an entrance that will serve the entire building. This is the most significant change to the building that you'll experience. Next slide. So to walk you through the plans, this first level, the lower level that we're looking at, the addition that I just mentioned on the upper right corner, this is on the far northeast corner of the building, and it's the new elevator and stair tower that will improve circulation to all levels. There will be a new entry to get everyone up into the rest of the building, and it will also serve for staff and food deliveries. There's a new wider ski school entrance that I mentioned, which is next to the desk. And then you'll notice the ski school lunchroom has gotten larger. So that'll be a big improvement. And the ceiling will be higher, so you'll be able to walk through the room without hitting your head, everybody who uses that building. And then there are the bathrooms. They are definitely new and improved. The fixtures will be in the same locations, but there will be new mirrors, new partitions, new toilets and sinks. But don't worry, we're not getting rid of the trough in the men's room. There will be new ventilation, which will highly, highly improve the air quality and the moisture content in those rooms. There will be new flooring, and the ceilings and walls will get a new coat of paint. Like I said, there are a lot of changes behind the scenes, so there will be a lot of improvements in the mechanical rooms behind the bathrooms, and the food and beverage operations, the storage, refrigeration, and there will be new bathrooms for the staff on this level. There will also be some structural work under the fireplace room of the bar. Next slide. Going up to the main level, one of the most significant changes you will notice is right when you walk in the front door from the from the ski slopes, from the flagpole. The part of the kitchen that was behind the wall right as you walk in is going away. Mike Witzel has been really helpful with some great ideas to make the kitchen work much more efficiently and flow much better. And so removing this area opened up a lot of public space. This allowed a service window from the bar out into the servery area, and this will face the cafeteria line. This will work well to serve more people at the end of the day, and it will give functionality for the bar to serve special events out in the servery and dining room areas. The other big change in the dining area is that the dish room is being moved back to the back of the building. So this will give more seating in the dining area, and there will be there will be the same amount of shelving and storage space. It'll just be pushed back farther behind those new tables that you see that are highlighted in green. There will also be 2 single bathrooms behind that, which will open toward the elevator and the new stair. And then there will be a new alcove with cubbies for a lot more daily equipment storage. In the back of house, as I mentioned, a lot of the things that you won't see, the kitchen is getting a lot of upgrades for energy efficiency and improved function. There will be new hoods and makeup air. There will be all new walk-in coolers, so there will be no more residential refrigerators. There will be some new cooking appliances. We're reusing as many as we are able, but about half of the cooking appliances are being replaced. Also, I want to mention that all the walls in the kitchen are being gutted from the inside, so they'll be insulated and air sealed, and they will get new washable code-compliant surfaces on the inside. Basically, for the general public, the interface with the food service essentially won't change. You'll still have the same bar where you order, and the salad bar, and the place where you get your beverages and things like that, and the checkout will all be the same. The biggest changes are back behind that wall. Next slide. So up on the 3rd floor, the biggest change is really about access and storage. There will be access up to the 3rd floor with the new elevator and stair on the upper right corner. And then that emergency exit stair that I mentioned that you've already noticed has been put in on the upper left corner that faces the practice slope. There will also be a lot of gear storage for people to use during the day with the large cubby area that's next to the new stair and elevator. With mechanical and kitchen changes, there will be a few mechanical chases and vent ducts go away. So there will be some more space where you see those random green rectangles scattered through the race team area. So that'll free up some space, and there'll be some improved flow there. So really that's about it. I just wanted to walk you through the changes. I know it seems like a lot of money, but there's a lot of changes necessary in these buildings to make them safer and more functional. So things will start as soon as the governor will allow for us to start after COVID-19 restrictions are lifted. The team is queued up and ready to go, starting with demolition and abatement. I really want to thank the members of the Facilities Committee. Meg Schultz is our official board liaison. John Stetson, Bob Cook, Meg Hurahan, Annika Holden, Peter Hurahan, Matt Lillard, Christian Jakewith, and Link Prescott have all been incredibly helpful and very attentive, and they've really seen us through a pretty long and exciting but very busy process. I also want to add that we've had some input from a few other regular attendees who have been very helpful. Many others have helped in the past, and people are often helping with opinions and thoughts, and I appreciate that. Ben and Wendy Bridgewater and Carol Pierce are some of the people I want to mention who've been really helpful. And I have to thank Matt. He's been a wonderful person to work with for our committee, and he, I think, has a great command of the team, and we're excited for these great projects to move forward. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Britton. We can certainly take questions on that facilities report after when we get to the question and answer period. And now I want to hand it over to Jim Elkine from the Stark Mountain Foundation to update us on what's going on there.
Thanks, Matt. I'm Jim Elkine. I'm the treasurer of the Stark Mountain Foundation. There we go. And we'll just go to the next slide, please, Matt. So my question and kind of the theme of today from the Stark Mountain Foundation is, how do you know us? And how do you know Stark Mountain Foundation? Is it from what we do, events, education, the work that we've done with the Preserve Our Paradise campaign, all of which tie into our mission, which is preserving and protecting the environment on General Stark Mountain and helping people to understand that environment, as well as to preserve the history of this place. So if we can go to the next slide. In terms of our stewardship, when we think of our mission, we think about three things. We think about stewardship, we think about education, and we think about play. And most of us are here to play, many, when we're skiing. But the stewardship is an important component. We were a key partner in the rebuilding of the single chair. The Stark's Nest is a building that we all see when we're skiing and often when we're hiking. We've helped fund the renovation of that quite a few years ago. In the summertime, there's a rain barrel out there, so there's water for people who are hiking. And of course, we were a key partner of the Preserve Our Paradise campaign. All of these activities tie together in helping us steward the environment on General Stark Mountain and also make it a great place to recreate and to play. Next slide, please. Education is a key component. We had some really neat programs this year. Many people enjoyed Brian Aust's talk on migratory birds in December. In the fall, around Green and Gold, we had the Vermont Institute of Natural Sciences come in and give us a talk on owls. The story ski was a big hit again this year. We had, for those of you who were here, we had pages of a book in Ben's Glade, and people skied through it, and the kids skied through it and read the story about, it was titled What's Under the Snow, and really apropos. It was great cover in the woods, and the posters that were in the woods had a description of lots of the animals that we actually were skiing over at the time. And of course, this is a black bear that's in the Kent Thomas Nature Center, which is an educational facility the Stark Mountain Foundation maintains with help from our donors, and also is there's a neat place to go in and see some of the wildlife that we have on the mountain. Next slide. And then we're here to play, a lot of us. A bunch of kids came through the story ski, and during the rest of the day, I really enjoyed seeing little stuffed foxes coming out of people's goggle straps and out of their pockets and sticking out of their zippers. We run the hill climb, and another thing we do is we provide the hiking maps and trail signs for hiking. So that's how we help facilitate play on this mountain. And in terms of who we are, our board of directors is Deb LaSure, Brandy Myers, Penny Parson, George Ganella, Sarah Dillard, Amory Honeywell, and that's me, Jim Elkine. And the next and last slide. One of the key things we're doing as part of the wrap-up of the Preserve Our Paradise campaign, for which everybody who donated to that campaign, thank you very much. It's made a huge difference, as Matt has said, to our skiing. We want to make sure we appropriately recognize donors. There's going to be a web page that we will put up this fall that will list every donor to the campaign. In addition, there's a a stainless steel band that's going to be mounted on the deck railing outside of the pub. And here's a mock-up of one section of that. Logos of the Preserve Our Paradise campaign and the Stark Mountain Foundation, and then a long list of names. There'll be 4 panels like this one mounted on the deck railing. And then for people who gave fairly large amounts of money, there will be individual plaques that we will be working on with those donors with a goal of getting them on the mountain by the beginning of the ski season. So I want to thank everybody who gave to the Preserve Our Paradise campaign and who has supported the Stark Mountain Foundation. We will continue to pursue our mission and make this a great place to play and help to preserve the history of the place, as well as to help people better understand what it is that makes the environment here so special. Thanks very much. And now I'll socially distance the microphone over to Matt.
Thank you, Jim. Oh, well, thank you very much. Let me get this all set up. Well, that concludes the formal part of our presentation. So now is usually the part where you guys fire away from the audience with questions. And Rye Young, who is a good 10 feet away from me right now, has got the Facebook open, as well as marketing@mattoverglen.com email. And if you've got a question for me, we've got board members standing by as well to help where necessary. I'd certainly take any questions people have.
I have one question from Boyd Allen, which I think you might have already covered, but it's our only question so far.
Okay.
And he's asking, if I have mad money remaining, which I never picked up still in the ticket office, how can I donate it back to the co-op or gift it to any staff member that needs support during this time?
Thank you very much. So the question was from Boyd Allen via Facebook, I believe, asking about, he had mad money, or his APR money, in the ticket office that he never picked up, and he was asking how he could go about donating it to the co-op or to employees. And as I mentioned earlier, if the money doesn't get spent, it is going to the co-op. And while we don't do direct donations to employees, I will say that we value our community, which includes our incredible employees, very, very much. And we certainly understand the hardships that they're going through with an early shutdown, and we have taken steps from the management side to take care of them as best as we can. We had a lot of extra food that we've been giving out to people as necessary. We've tried to help them financially and have helped them financially, and that having that mad money enables us to do that. So while we don't need to directly donate to a certain cause, I think you can have faith that we are doing everything that we possibly can for our community, including our employees. So thank you very much for offering for that, and we are doing those things already, and we'll continue to do them to take care of our staff.
John Anderson has 2 questions, but I think you just answered his second one. The first question is there a plan B if we can't start construction this spring? And the second question was, have we done enough as a co-op to help the staff with the abrupt end of the season?
Certainly. So the first question was from John Anderson. He had 2 questions. The first one was, they're hearing the first one? Okay, thank you, Rye. So to answer the first one, mid-May. If we don't have some sort of green light from the governor and the rules that at least allow some start of construction by mid-May, we won't be able to move forward with the project. What that would mean currently is we've thrown out a lot of junk that's been in this base box and in that patrol building for a very, very long time. So we at least got that done. We would have to put it off. We would have bought some equipment that will eventually go into the project, so it would need to be stored. Because what we're trying not to do is slow the project down or put a halt on it where we're not moving forward with our subs and not buying up things that we need to buy. So there will be an elevator somewhere sitting in a storage container until it goes in. That's a done deal, because if we want to have this done by the summer, we had to do that. But we really need to see what happens. We're hopeful that in some capacity, vertical construction can move forward. The first couple weeks of our project are very much very social distance type things. And as Britton mentioned, we do have some abatement things that we need to take care of. And those crews are currently working on other projects and continue to work once given the green light. So that's what we're looking forward to there. Have we done enough? We've done everything we can for our employees, and we're going to continue to try to do as much as we can. So, as I mentioned, we had a lot of leftover food. We invited employees up bit by bit to grab what we had and take home. We were able to help supplement some income from the co-op. We've also been helping them through the unemployment insurance options available to them. As with a lot of things, Mad River, we're a very prideful and independent bunch, and we're really trying to encourage people to take advantage of the services that are available to them. So we hope that they can do that. And as we move forward into the spring here, we're going to continue to look to see what else we can do. There has been lots of questions we've gotten and talks about how people can potentially help contribute some more money into a fund that would go to employees. It's not something we want to get into from the management side of the cooperative, so we are reaching out to other resources and organizations to see how we might be able to do that. And if we can pull that off, we'll try to do it as quickly as possible and move forward with that.
Okay, the next question comes from Brad Simmons. Brad would like to know, what is the status of the locker room with regard to the renovations? I'm all for expanding the ski shop if required. Might there be space in the basement of the base box?
Thank you, Brad. So the question was regarding the locker room. So we do have a small locker room off the rental department. It is something that I look at from a management side, and I'm trying to find out the best use for those lockers. It's approximately 65, 70 lockers right now. And they are very old and antiquated, and they're in a rental space that could use some more space. So for this year, we are not changing any use in the lockers. We will be reevaluating the rates that they pay, and I will safely say there'll be an increase there, so be on the lookout for that. I think in future years, I'll continue to have discussions with locker holders and other stakeholders to see what other opportunities are out there. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of space in other facilities around the mountain. At one point, with the bigger, grander plans, there was potential in some other buildings, but that, the return on that and how much that was going to cost didn't ultimately being part of the project. So we don't have the ability to move what we have there somewhere else. But whether or not we repurpose or find another way to house people's skis and house more people's skis is my ultimate goal, is something we're looking at. But for now, there's no change in use.
Peter Sakash would like to know, if we could only start one project this summer, which one would it be?
The facilities committee with our architect team and our construction management team we've not really addressed that yet. The short answer is it would be the patrol building. It's a standalone project. It's a demo and rebuild. As you can imagine, the base box being a reno, being a very old building with lots of gremlins, the potential there to not have a base box ready to go for next year would be devastating. So we wouldn't look at doing that. So if we got to that point, like I said, we still have to talk more about it, but the general thinking is if we got to that point, it would be the patrol building and ski school building.
Ed Fleck would like to know what volunteer opportunities are available over the summer.
That's a great question. So with this project, there are... Repeat the question? So the question was, what volunteer opportunities are there over this summer? So there's a couple great ones. So assuming this project moves forward, we have taken on the co-op side, some things with this project that we hope to be able to use volunteer efforts for. Things like big painting parties, because we are going to be doing at least the priming of a lot of the outside siding. Come the fall time, we will be looking at, the co-op is going to be doing some of the shelving and other work where volunteer carpenters and other people might be able to help. So there's definitely some aspects of the project that we're looking forward to using our volunteers for. Outside of that, every late summer, early fall, we've got our volunteer work days up on the mountain that are run by Lars Bruns and his great crew that works on maintaining the woods. And that's where we're looking at right now. I say we took a year off last year from the July 4th Warren Parade. Assuming that happens, which I'm fully hoping it will, we'll have a float back in that, and we'll be reaching out to people to volunteer to come out and join us in the parade.
The only other question I have is Joe Granville is wondering if we're going to print that social distancing T-shirt.
Karen down in the general store, we are talking, yes, we will have some sort of T-shirt that revolves around that graphic to memorialize the craziness that this spring and this season was. So be on the lookout for that. And we might be getting into the face mask game as well, but we'll see what that looks like. That's it. Well, I don't want to drone on for too long. We'll give it another minute here to see any other questions before they come in. But thank you, everybody. This has been an interesting experience. I want to thank the 3 other people in the room. At least I get to look at somebody when I'm talking. I'm not sure I'm made out for strictly TV.
When will the election results be posted?
Election results as soon as possible. So remember, get your ballot in if you haven't by scanning it and emailing it to elections@matterofglen.com. And the in-person elections are already down with the ballot counters, and we'll send the rest of them down. And I would hope by the end of this evening we'll be posting. I'd say Monday morning at the latest. We'll post the results of those elections. But outside of that, as I mentioned, we'll stay tuned to our website and our social media pages. For those that I noticed, some people noticed they got an email in a different email than usual via our shareholder email last week. We did go and audit that through our systems, and we're trying to make sure we use that shareholder email option more to speak directly to our shareholders. So if you didn't get one from us talking about this annual meeting and you are a shareholder, getting a hold of us and make sure we have your email. So you can do that to ski@matterofglen or marketing@matterofglen.com. It's a great way to get a hold of us. We're going to use that more and more often. As I mentioned before, buying passes is a great way to support the co-op. It really helps us plan and helps us get through the summer. We're looking forward to a great summer up on the mountain. We're hoping that we're able to get all this work done. And the other thing I'll say is just from the office standpoint, we are working remotely for the most part, so bear with us if you're reaching out to us or have any questions. Same with the general store. It's open online. If you need to spend your mad money, as I mentioned, there'll be a phone call, and we'll take it from there. Oh, with that, any last questions? Nope. Well, thank you very much. John, or do you want to close us out, or want me to take it? I think we'll take that with, I'll go ahead and close this out. So thank you again. Thank you for a great season. Thanks for bearing with us and understanding all the operational decisions we had to make, closing early. Thank you, I will say, for everybody for abiding by the no uphill closure that started Thursday evening. Was not a decision that we wanted to make, but we really felt we had to. So thank you for respecting that. And we look forward to this whole thing being over, at least being decreased in some fashion, and seeing you up on the hill. Thanks, and have a great spring. Think sun.